Now, these posts about fear of being seen are doing really well. Oh, specifically fear of being seen on social media.
You have to have a mission, and it has to be very crystal clear. And you have to have a vision of where you want that mission to go. Mission and vision determine 100% of strategy.
If you are out there and you want to build something, you don't know what it is, but you want to build it, you should start.
Professionals come in listening to this podcast, and after spending time with you guys, after spending time in y'all's consciousness space, they feel more free. So you've just transformed them from a person that feels trapped to a person that is now free.
If you wait until you find what you want to be good at, that's going to really work as a good crutch for you to not do anything. Through the process of creating it, it will force you to figure out what you want.
There's something that's called the 3-second test, where we look at someone, something, we look at a brand, we look at a visual, and we are making unconscious biases.
Two vascular surgeons walk into a bar and come out with a podcast. We are talking everything vascular and not. Welcome to the Life of Flow podcast.
The following podcast is not relating to my teachings and work at Del Cedar Medical Center and is for entertainment purposes only.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Life of Flow podcast. And today we have a repeat guest, our most famous guest ever. Anyone's most famous guest ever, the great Courtney Johnson. Courtney, what's the difference between creators and consumers, and why should we care as surgeons?
Yeah, well, we're always being programmed. Everything is propaganda.
Okay.
24/7 we are being programmed, right? And in the same way, you can own shares of a company, you can own shares of Apple or Google or Microsoft. You can own shares of people's consciousness. So I'm gonna do a little exercise.
Okay. I'm scared.
I want you guys to close your eyes.
Okay.
And I want you to say the first thing that comes to mind after I ask you this question. You guys ready? Name a chef. Go.
Ramsey.
Oh God, my wife?
Okay.
What?
Name a famous chef.
Oh, Ratatouille. What?
Like the little mouse?
Yeah.
Oh.
She's a great chef.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So what I can infer from this is that Gordon Ramsay owns a share of your consciousness.
Yeah.
And Disney owns a share of your consciousness filed under Ratatouille. So when you guys come to any sort of buying or consuming decision, you go to buy a cooking class or a cookbook or go to a restaurant, you are predictably more likely to choose things from Gordon Ramsay because he owns shares of your consciousness. And that's what's called top of mind awareness. So filed under chef in your consciousness, Gordon Ramsay has top of mind awareness. And so in the way that we are being programmed by these people, we can actually program others. So you can actually own top of mind awareness share in somebody else's consciousness of Lucas Ferrer filed under whatever you want to be filed under an amazing vascular surgeon, filed under an investor, an advisor, filed under the best media company for vascular surgeons. And so when you're intentional with this, you can make a lot of progress because the number one indicator of buyer behavior is not price, it's not branding, it's not any of that. It's actually repetition. So I can accurately predict what laundry detergent you're going to buy, what soda you're going to buy by repetition, by the thing that you have seen the most. And this is the fundamental building block of propaganda is repetition. You say the same thing over and over and over and over until you own shares in that person's consciousness. You own a file. And people like to say like programming, propaganda, spin, like this is all negative. But it's not negative. It's very neutral. If we have commercials and billboards and we've been told eat more vegetables our whole life. Like obviously that's very positive propaganda. There's those pass it on signs as you're driving down the highway and it's like positivity, be nice to a stranger, pass it on. That is propaganda. In the same way, we have fast food propaganda, we have political propaganda. And again, a lot of people are kind of scared because they don't want to step into propaganda. They don't want to step into this dark art of manipulation, but it is all a dark art of manipulation. So I believe that we can use these tools, but use them for good and use them for positive change and use them to help others.
Miguel.
Well, I'm just thinking as you're putting that, we went pretty 0 to 100 there real quick.
That's how we do it here in the Life of Flow
This is the
podcast.
Life of Flow 2.0.
Your blood
Expect
cells do
this
not disturb.
for 2026. I look back at, physicists during history and how they've actually created atomic energy that was unfortunately very quickly turned into the atomic bomb.
Right.
And so I think every decision in life can go both ways, and you can take something and do a lot of good with it, or you could take something and do a lot of bad with it. And I love this intentionality behind the message, in order to accomplish this greater good kind of thing. And I guess I'm trying to frame this from the perspective of for us as physicians, which is how can I create those files in my referring providers so that they know that, when they think of Montero Baker, what are they thinking of? And B, probably more importantly, in my patients, right? What do I want them to think when they think about us? What do I want them to think when they think about hope? Because I guess there's fractions, right? Because one thing is, what do I think about the clinic? And then what do I think about the doctor? And why do I think about this particular medical assistant? And so there's all of these faceted points that can themselves, I think, create a message. So you don't also have to, corner yourself on just, I'm trying to get my message out, but there's all these other messages. And this is, you're about to build your own empire in Puerto Rico. You're going to have to think about this, right? What is it? What is the feeling you want that clinic to give? What is the file that you want to create? And I guess that by fine tuning the message is, I guess, the way that you create strategy, because I'd like to go into, okay, I get conceptually what you're saying, and probably the reason why Ramsey is in your mind is because when you said it, I said, duh, that probably would have been my true answer, had I gotten 10 more seconds. Because the reality is, if I look at my Instagram feed, that's all I see all the time.
Dave Ramsey? Really?
No, really, like, it's him, like, yelling at the people in the contest shows, right?
Yeah, you love that, don't you?
Yeah, because I probably targeted. I like that, and people fighting in the roads. So a lot of that aggression is there to help me offload my own repressions. But all to say, that's probably why he has a space in your memory. So the question is it intentional? Is Gordon Ramsay's team thinking of how to produce that quote propaganda or message? Because I guess propaganda in a way sometimes has a negative connotation. It feels like
neutral.
politically charged sometimes, like it's political
No,
propaganda.
you should propaganda and brainwash your patients into eating healthy and doing their post care and recovery. Like, I think it can be a very good thing. But I actually want to talk about how to actually implement this. So you said, well, with the example of referring physicians, how do you get referring physicians to have top of mind awareness of hope and of Miguel? There's a couple of ways you can do this. One is through strong messaging. So in messaging, we can either talk to people's conscious mind or we can talk to their subconscious mind. I can talk a little bit later about how to do that, but you want to have really strong messaging that talks to their subconscious mind. And then repetition. You want that messaging to be over and over and over in multimedia. So you want that messaging to be in things that they can actually grab and things that are media and online and human to human conversations. And then you also want associations. So one of the fastest ways to start to own the files in people's mind is to create associations. So let's say you send a other physician that you want to refer you a really nice bottle of wine in a gift bag. That's really beautiful, leather notebook and a nice bottle of wine. They're now associating you with high quality, with luxury. You're actually stealing what's a really well-known famous wine that you like? You're a wine guy.
Oh, I'm
That everybody would
not
know.
super famous,
He's an
but
HEV wine
Oh,
guy.
okay, let's say
I'm a Pinot Noir kind of.
what's the champagne that's like $100 that ever Vouv? Vouv?
No. But
Okay, what?
Patson Hall, for example, really good.
Great.
Or,
Pat's and
Patton
Hall.
Hall doesn't sound fancy at all.
All right.
It's good.
Sorry, Patton Hall.
Okay, so you send someone $100 bottle of wine, they're immediately associating with high quality, with knowing details.
Paul Hubs. How about that?
Paul Hub, great.
There you go.
You can also do this with in content. For example, I recently made a post about Sarah Blakely. Do you know Sarah Blakely? She's one of the youngest female billionaires. She's like 50 years old. She's an incredible entrepreneur. I made a couple of videos about Sarah Blakely. Sarah Blakely then liked and reposted and commented on my video. So now I have an association with Sarah Blakely. Well, what are Sarah Blakely's traits? Sarah Blakely is known as extremely successful entrepreneur. She is known as extremely intelligent. She is known as someone every investor wants to work with. And now Sarah Blakely's name is associated with my name. I can go and I can talk about a certain brand. I can use certain brands. I can show up in a certain way. And there's something that's called the 3-second test, where we look at someone, something, we look at a brand, we look at a visual, and we are making unconscious biases. And biases is another word where we think of as negative, but actually can be neutral. So my bias of just glancing at you, never seeing you before, could be tech founders wear these red light blocking glasses. I'm assuming you're techie or you're innovative. You're actually borrowing the brand affinity of
Mark
some
Zuckerberg.
yeah, of like a SF tech founder. And I'm immediately making those associations because our brain makes really, really quick shortcuts. So again, these biases, somebody's going to look at Hope's branding, they're going to look at you, they're going to have a conversation with you, and their brain is immediately going to make the shortcuts. And it could be positive or it could be negative. It could be they actually have an ex-boyfriend named Miguel, so they automatically dock you a few points in their mind, and you can't do anything about that. But the more we create associations with other positive things, with other things with positive biases, the more our target audience is going to want to work with us and want to see us and trust us more.
So where should we put the effort? On ourselves as the brand, or if we have a
Mhm.
company, an institution, on Hope? Or like should Miguel develop equals amount of resources and time to as people associating him with a particular outcome or offer, and Hope with that, or 80% Miguel or 80% Hope?
Well, the question is Hope going to be around forever in this current iteration? Are you going to own it forever? If the answer is yes, go all in on Hope. Probably the answer is no. Probably 99% of us are not going to work at our current job, not going to have our current company. We're going to exit. It's going to change. It's going to shift in 10, 20, 30, however many years. The only thing that you own for your entire life is your personal brand. So I would recommend putting more resources into your personal brand. Of course, your partner and you have a whole company, and there's probably actually more money going into the Hope marketing because that's what gets you patients. That's a whole other story. But personal brand is the most effective. It also takes a lot of money and time and resources for a human to connect with a non-human entity. And Hope is a non-human entity. So that's just going to take more marketing dollars. That's fine. It's a very necessary part of business for Hope to have strong marketing. But for me to connect with Miguel, we are biologically wired to do so. So it doesn't take a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot of time and energy. We are literally already instantly connected as humans.
I would say if you're out there driving and listening to this and you're just starting to consider this thought of personal branding, probably 99% of your bandwidth should go into that. Because to your point, personal branding is evergreen. It's never going to go away. If the resources, if there's fluffy resources and you've already potentially created some degree of brand, I think you can brand your human side as your entity or company. But to your point, exactly as you were putting it out there in my mind, I was like, I don't think I'd put all of my bandwidth there because I will exit, right?
Yeah.
I will get acquired. Something will happen down the line and then I'll lose control. And I'm essentially giving away that culture, that ethos, that connection that my patients have will be no longer under my purview, but my own. I keep being Miguel Montero the next day, right? On to the next project or staying with that project and working for a bigger group. But that's something to say. Now, I would like to take a step back and deconstruct from a tactical standpoint, because this sounds very logical, but I love to do this. Just walk me like I'm a 6-year-old. What do I need to do to start this? And I'll use something to frame the conversation. And you tell me, because this is in my mind, I'm processing and I'm thinking about one thing that I've learned through entrepreneurship, which is you have to have a mission and it has to be very crystal clear. and you have to have a vision of where you want that mission to go. And mission and vision determine 100% of strategy.
Hmm.
Quick example. We have hyperbarics for our diabetic foot ulcers.
Yep.
One day, this guy came from the Veterans Administration and said, hey, we have a lot of oncologic radiation-like problems that need hyperbaric medicine, and we're willing to give you thousands of dollars for this service. And I sat with it for a little bit because my gut was like, hell yeah, I'm taking that revenue. But when I looked at my mission and I looked at my vision, radiation oncology has nothing to do with what we started doing. And so as painfully as that would meant for my bank account, it was the right thing for what we wanted to portray. We don't want to mud our message and what we want people to know what we do. We want to be the best at this one thing, and we got to just stick to that. And that's how you can scale. So am I thinking about this right when I say you almost sit down and you have to figure out exactly, I want to be the son of a bitch chef that everybody hates but loves, like Gordon, and then the intentionality to create that message on all platforms and to be, in line with that message. How would you walk me as my strategist in the building blocks when you haven't done anything?
Can I adjust that a little bit?
Of course.
Let's think about who we're trying to help, right? Let's think about a young surgeon that had first job out, a year, 2 years, works for a
So
hospital,
early career.
career.
No,
Or-
probably
Well,
no.
the
no
answer
brand.
was the same for early career or late
But
career.
let me set it up. And they see your content, Courtney, and they say, I like this, something resonates, but it doesn't apply to me.
Mm,
Fix my problem.
mhm. Yeah. So I would tell them just make your work visible. Start putting in the reps to make your work visible. So that might be you just finished a really awesome case. You're going to present that case and you're not going to be scared about presenting it. You're not going to, well, you probably will be scared. You probably will feel stupid, but you're going to go out of your way. It's going to feel a little bit annoying. You want to really, really make it visible. And that could be internally in your organization, in your hospital. Tell other people what you're working on. Make it very visible to your boss of what you're doing. And that's going to start to build the muscle of making your work visible because we have this lie in our head that we've been propagandized into that we need to put our head down, work hard, and everything will work out for us. But that is just not true.
Not true.
It's not true. What's
100%
true
not
is that people aren't going to know what you've accomplished, what you're working on, unless you make your work visible. So make it visible internally in your organization first, and then start making your work visible externally. So that could be talking at conferences, that could be talking to other physicians, that could be starting to post on social media, that could be contributing to papers. But if you put your head down and work hard, nobody is coming to discover you, nobody is coming to find you unless you put yourself out first.
What does seem very important, though, I think, is ahead of any strategy, ahead of any effort, is the thought of potentially what the product or what the result should be, what I'm aiming to do. So I feel, I know this is kind of esoterical, but I almost feel like before you put that much effort and that much time in getting what you think is your personal brand out there, you have to have a lot of introspection and understanding of what really you want from life. Because most doctors early in career, we've been so blinded by tests and residency and hours and all this that I feel we're like surviving. We're almost stumbling through this shit. And then we get to our first job and we see all those zeros in the first paycheck and we think we just, we crawled up the best mountain in the world. And then I feel like you don't do enough work internally to really, really nail down what it is that you want to do for the rest of your life. Because I would love, and I'm sure you can shift that things happen in your life, but I love to think that whoever's out there listening is make sure you're very clear, ideally, on what that initial message is. And if not, just start and stumble through it. But I think it would be good to know. And I'm thinking something dumb. For example, do you want to be an aortic guru? Do you want to be an access guru? Do you want to be a lower extremity guru?
But
Or
it
do you
also
want to be
might
the
not
guru
be.
of all things?
It also might not be a specialty or specific procedure. It might be you're really good at teaching, or you're
Yeah.
really good at emotional intelligence and connecting with others, or you're a mom and you can also relate to other surgeons who are moms.
Or you're the best advisor to industry.
Exactly.
So you,
Yeah.
but the industry won't know
Right.
Yeah.
until you
I-
put the message out.
I'm going to take the other side of
Okay.
the argument, because I think that, you know, if you wait until you find what you want to be good at, that's going to really work as a good crutch for you for not do anything. So, in this world where, a lot of physicians are being employed by a faceless entity that doesn't really care, the moment you're a liability, you're gone, then it's a necessity to have your own brand, to create a value around what you provide, the value you provide. So you have to do it. You should do it.
And you can fine tune it.
And you can find, and in the process, through the process of creating it, I think you will find it will force you to figure out what you want.
Yeah, you're definitely not
Yeah.
going to know at first, especially
Yeah.
right out of school. You're not going to know what
Yeah.
your mission is. It's going to take a lot of repetitions, a lot of stumbling, and then it's almost like a muddy window. And the more you put yourself out there, the more you show your work, the clearer the window gets. It's probably going to take a decade or two for that window to be really clear. It might take even longer to know exactly the value you provide. And I find that as you progress in your career, the window gets clearer, but also your mission gets deeper and deeper.
Would you mind sharing a personal journey on this particular topic? Like maybe say, when I started this whole thing a few years ago, I thought this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
And now where I'm at now, I realized that I fine-tuned it to this is what I want. Can you share something?
Yeah, when I started posting on social media, I was talking about Airbnb-ing, and I was talking about, like, social media ads, like Facebook ad strategy. That is not what I talk about at all anymore, and I was talking about travel and living in Austin. And I have this cycle where I post a wide variety of content types. I talk about a wide variety of content types. I write about a wide variety of anything I'm interested in. Then I look at the analytics. What are the outliers? What does my audience really resonate with? And then I create more. I create more of those topics that the audience resonates with, but I also continue to experiment. So it creates this feedback loop where you come closer and closer to the value that you provide. And through this, I started to see these little glimmers. Oh my gosh, out of the last month, out of everything I've written, these 2 posts about career for Gen Z performed really well. Okay, let me do more of that. Huh. Now these posts about fear of being seen are doing really well. Okay, let me do more of that. Oh, specifically fear of being seen on social media. Huh. Oh, specifically cheat codes that help Gen Z get better jobs, including visibility. And you just keep testing and refining, and your message is clearer and clearer, but it comes through repetition.
But you're not morphing yourself to their needs by the feedback. You are also evolving yourself into this place where you realize, oh, this is where my journey is leading to. This is the person that I need to be. I feel better. I feel good about this. And the message is resonating with my audience.
Exactly. And I'll give you a shortcut to getting there. If you don't want to go through the whole feedback loop, just think about, what do your friends ask you for advice about? It's probably something very specific. All your friends ask you for relationship advice, for business advice, for emotional support. They probably all ask you for support and advice around one topic. And it's going to be something that you think is so obvious that you would never even think of it. And that is when you know you really got it. That's when you know you really found your purpose. Is you're like, what do you mean? This is obvious. Everybody knows this. Like, this doesn't count. You might think it has to be something big and explosive, but it's going to be something really obvious.
Interesting.
So what do y'all's friends or peers ask you for advice about?
I went to a really dark place in my mind, which I won't go into, but I'd like to hear yours. What?
I mean, they ask me anything medical, especially related to anything like my non-science, non-doctors
What-
friends, and then what my doctor friends ask me about. That I have to think about. I mean, I don't know.
I personally get a lot of technical questions from colleagues. Hey, what do you think about this result? What would you have done? I'm going to do this case next week. Any thoughts, anything? So I get a lot of that. And then now in this phase, I get a lot of questions about, oh my God, you left the hospital. How did that go? How, what are the things you would and would never do again when you look back at the last 3 years of your life? I'd love that my friends ask me more parenting tips, but they don't.
Well, I've been
Because I love that topic
Yeah.
too.
I've been to a lot of conferences with you guys. I've been to a lot of dinners with you guys. And one thing that I always see people ask y'all is about purpose. They're like, oh man, I worked so hard and I finally got here and now I just feel like blah, I don't know what to do. Like, oh, I feel like I've heard a lot of that for you guys. And I actually think that that is an outlier and that is something that you guys are bringing into Life of Flow. But again, it's so obvious that you probably don't think about it. But that's the pattern that I see externally.
Yeah.
I think that has to do with what I was saying before, which is medical careers are so exhausting. They're so overwhelming. They're so intense. They take your social bandwidth to nothing, that by the time you get to the goal, you realize, has this really been my goal? Or have I been working towards a goal that other people set for me? My dad, my family, my peers,
Yeah.
how they're all going into some specialty residency. Like, do I need to do that? What if I want to do consulting of any? I'm just saying, like, it feels like there's a lot of blind moving through. And then what happens, I think, with a lot of doctors is they get to a point where they're like, why the fuck did I do this? Is this it? Am I at the peak? Is this? I've been 17 years doing tests after tests to be validated, to be here and to be dealing with the nonsense of the hospital and the administration. And then I think that's where purpose gets very questioned.
This is where I see y'all's personal brand and zone of genius. This is what's underneath everything you're doing. Yes, you can answer the technical questions. Yes, you can talk about leaving the hospital. You can talk about visibility or whatever, but the 5 beers deep, people are asking you guys about purpose. I see it every time.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we worked on our Life of Flow mission?
Yeah.
I would love to be able to recite it, but I can't.
What's the
I
gist?
have the gist.
What was the gist? I'll try to pull it up because I remember it was multiple iterations. So Lucas and I went back and forth multiple times until we nailed it.
Yeah.
And I'm pulling up the site here, but what was the gist about?
The gist is empowering physicians to be autonomous and self-authoring in a sense that I think that, and this might just be my own journey, is that the reason why it feels heavy is that we have no authorship over our lives, meaning like we're set, okay, you're going to do this and this and this, and if you stray away from this, then it just doesn't work, right? And that comes from, yes, the way we're taught, the institutions where we are trained in, and then the jobs we go into and what the hospital wants. And a lot of the times we are in the trenches, we see what needs to be done or what gets to be done for things to be better, but that doesn't go with the pendulum, the egregore, that's the hospital. And then we just become a cog in a machine. We're building somebody else's dream, and we're not building our
Do
own.
you want me to read it? I have it in here.
Yeah.
Can you help me? Because we're cheap. We only have 2 stands. So, and I got LASIK. So now I have a glare pair of glasses and a reading pair of glasses. So
It just means I'm getting old.
age. Yeah. The mission statement.
Yeah.
The Life of Flow podcast exists to create space for unfiltered, purposeful conversation at the intersection of medicine, humanity, and reinvention. In a world where voices are often muffled by hierarchy and tradition, we offer a platform to speak freely, whether insightful or irreverent, raw or refined. We believe that authenticity is its own form of intelligence, and that reclaiming our voice is the first step to reclaiming our power.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Yeah, freedom, self-authoring.
We did a good job.
Well, this is what
Go
is
chat.
so powerful. Underneath all of this,
Yeah.
underneath every layer of personal brand is transformation.
Yeah.
So it's a transformation that you're providing your audience. It's a transformation that you're providing to your patients, to your colleagues, to anybody around you. And the transformation that you guys are providing is physicians come in or industry or professionals come in listening to this podcast feeling like they don't have choice.
Yeah.
They feel like they're trapped. They don't feel free. And after spending time with you guys, after spending time in y'all's consciousness space, they feel more free. They feel like they have more self-authorship. So you've just transformed them from a person that feels trapped to a person that is now free. And if you can understand the transformation you provide people, that is where your personal brand will be so extremely powerful. And that's where you start speaking to people's subconscious rather than just speaking to them on the conscious level.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you why I think if you are out there and you want to build something, you don't know what it is, but you want to build it, you should start. And you guys tell me, I'm kind of trying to read the future. It's going to be really fucking easy to put out content. It's really fucking easy to put out content now with just
Yeah, we're there.
with an automation, right?
We're there.
And what's going to happen is hospitals are always, and medicine is always super late to the party, and they always do it terribly, right? Because there's so many lawyers and bullshit and people that don't know what the hell they're doing. So what's going to happen is that hospital systems are going to pump out content like it's nobody's business, but it's going to be horrible, dull, boring, like an automaton. So if you are out there just doing your own thing, being authentic and consistent, you'll break through the noise and you'll stand out and you'll have that. What we'll lack in the future is human connection because again, it'll just be big conglomerates putting out content that have no human emotion, no human connection to what we're doing, which is curing suffering. So if you can speak to that in an authentic way with whatever, Louisiana accent, out there, or like Midwest accent, just like really connect to the people that you're helping, I think that's just it cannot do anything but do well.
I really liked what you mentioned, CJ, before that non-human entities are going to have a harder time creating these synapses, right, with other human beings.
Yeah.
And so even if you, I'd go as far as saying, even if some hospital out there is smart enough to do some of this and do it right and do a really good job at it, they're still having to do that 100 times more before they create that connection than when we do it directly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. The problem, here's the deal. The problem is when you sign your contract,
They're
a
gonna
lot
own
of
your
these
image.
entities own your voice.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you and I don't care, Baylor College of Medicine, I started and I opened a Facebook group for patients.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you remember this. And we were putting cases and just what we did, and then images before and after, and then videos
Yeah.
of the patients walking. There was no way. There was no patient identifying information. There was no HIPAA violation. There was nothing. I would literally cut the heads out. You would just see legs walking from the back. 3 months and probably like 20 or 30 posts in, I got called by legal.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "What do you mean? What am I doing? I'm putting amazing content for our patients out." She's like, "This hasn't been approved." Approved by who? I was like, "You need to cross it by that." "No, you're talking about work you did here in our institution." I said, "Yes." Then it has to go through legal.
Yeah.
And so then they essentially made me throw these posts to some editor inside the Department of Surgery that would then change all the stuff and then repost it with absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing just I had to turn the Facebook thing off and I had to stop doing the posts. And then they just killed, they killed my light. The spark that I had was blown away by an administrative process.
You can't be
Well-
creative in a big conglomerate.
Well, I think what's going to happen, is that they are like, I can see this happening. You're out a fellowship, you get this amazing job at Baylor, and in the fine print is going to be that they own your image while you're working there. And they will do a couple clips of you, and then they're gonna do an AI avatar of you, and they're gonna.
Oh, you're saying you're going Nostradamus here?
This was
What's
gonna
gonna
happen.
happen?
This was gonna happen.
Well, FYI, Baylor still has me in their search engine.
Yeah.
So if you search me, it still pulls them because they've made me a search item in their SEO
Oh, okay.
stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. Huh.
Anyway,
Interesting.
but just FYI.
And then
So
they
when people
all
are
they're like,
looking
"Oh, we
for
don't have
him,
Miguel, but we'll send you this other person."
Exactly.
so they're using my brand
Yeah.
to pull them over
Why-
in their SEO.
Can you not get that taken down?
I don't know. It would be an interesting Google Analytics question because can I tell Google, I was like, I don't work there anymore. You should not allow them to associate my name to that.
Yeah.
They'll hide him in like little
if
trees.
brands use a picture of me, they have to pay thousands of dollars a month to keep the usage fee. And so that might be something that comes up too. It's like, is there a usage fee after you left of using your name and your likeness? And maybe that's something that you're gonna in the future negotiate. Your contract.
This opens a whole as a can of worms because legal implications, ramifications, image protecting, copywriting, and all of these things we normally, what do we do when we go to negotiate? What's the call schedule? What's the pay? That's it. That's
it.
all we ask.
That's it. If you know you have the entrepreneurship bone inside of you and you're going into a big hospital system, look at that contract for that. Because
it's not only the image, but your IP. So if you come up with any idea while you're still an employee, they also own for that idea. So if you have a phenomenal project and it goes ballistic, then they actually have you.
You're a slave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But like say but like just for the image part, look at it. Because say you build a brand, say you like create something, they might own it.
Yeah, I want to talk tactically about how somebody can implement this right now.
Okay.
Let's go.
So there's a couple of different things. What comes to mind is people are like, I don't want to be posting on Instagram or TikTok every day. That sounds horrible. You don't have to do that. There's so many ideas. You could have a monthly dinner at your house, and that could be a consistent thing that maybe you do a recap post about. You can maybe start a Substack. You could be on Twitter and do case evaluations. Of course, you could be on Instagram. You could be on TikTok. You could be on LinkedIn. You could speak at conferences. You could contribute to a book. The key is you're going to pick one thing that you can do consistently and do not stop, because the only way to lose the game is to stop posting. As long as you're consistent, as long as you keep going, you're going to build a brand. Because how to rank in the top 4% of all podcasts that have ever existed, you just post 6 episodes. The rank in the top 1% of all podcasts, you post like 10 episodes. If you want to be in the top 1% of LinkedIn, you post once a week. Like the bar is just consistency. The bar is very low. So choose, of course you can flex and this can change throughout your career, but choose one thing that's going to make you visible and do it again and again and again and be on a consistent schedule. Just integrate that as a non-negotiable.
So say you have some cash to put into this and you're really busy and you're not a social media adept. So what do you do?
Let's take it a step further.
Okay.
And do this exercise, which I love from the Diary of the CEO, that he always says, I'm going to give you 3 boxes.
Okay.
One box has $500. The box 2 has $5,000. And box 3 has $50,000. Okay. Because that just sets the stage for 3 very different places of a career where you could be. So I would like you to break this down. You're my consultant, and I call you and I say, hey, CJ, I got $500.
Yeah.
Or I've got $5K, or I've got $50K. How would you tell me how to spend and invest that money to accelerate my brand recognition?
Yeah, if you've got $500, go rent a podcast studio for an hour. It's going to be $100 and answer questions or talk to a friend. You don't have to start a podcast. Just have the camera on and have a conversation. Then the rest of the money, the $400, go find a virtual assistant that specializes in content. Have them chop up that video and chop up the transcript and post once a week on LinkedIn. And you're going to have, for $400 or someone that's $5 an hour, you're going to have LinkedIn posts for a year, both text and video. Posting 1 time per week on LinkedIn for a year will completely change your life. You will start attracting opportunities. That's going to get you money that you can reinvest in your personal brand. That would be $500.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. $5,000, $5,000, I would invest $1,000 in education around personal brands. So I would probably hire an expert to come in and help you understand your messaging, understand your unique value proposition, and understand
So
your
some
mission.
coaching.
Yeah, a little
Okay.
bit of coaching. And I would spend the other $4,000, again, content for a year, but you could up the content a little bit. This could be something more long form. But I would create some sort of pillar content. So a pillar content could be you go and do an hour talk, somebody pulls the videos and the transcript and makes posts for you. Pillar content could be you go on somebody else's podcast. You host your own podcast. Pillar content could be a Substack. $50,000, Life of Flow, baby.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Rest. We want your personal brand. We will help you scale and accelerate in ways you never thought you could.
Yeah, we'll build you a podcast.
We'll build
Yeah,
you.
no, literally, $50,000.
we'll
Go
build
to
you.
Miguel and Lucas and be
Yeah,
like, "What should I
build you.
do?" And you guys will create a team for them. And
Life of Flow
Do-
Studios.
No,
Coming soon.
come as a and 50. When I say 50K, come as a mature private practice, and you want to go next level.
Yeah.
And we'll show you how to do it. Your industry, and you're trying to go next level with a product.
Yeah.
We'll show you how to do
yeah,
it there.
it's actually embarrassing for me because the brand deals you guys get consistently with just, I mean, I'm starting to get I'm almost at like 700,000 followers on my social, and you guys have like 5,000, and the brand deals that you guys get are bigger than mine every single time. And I just like it's just you guys are so good at what you do. It's really amazing. There's so many parts of y'all's podcast and y'all's business and y'all's personal brand that have far surpassed mine. So you guys really are such good experts.
So fix the Life of Flow podcast.
Fix
What,
it.
what do
Now-
we
now
do in
we're gonna-
2026?
We're going
yeah,
into the segment of free advice.
free consulting.
Okay.
So we have our expert here in-house,
Yeah.
and
free consulting
uh,
hour.
we probably are in the first bucket. We can invest $500. No, but really, at this point, where do you think we should try to put our efforts in 2026 as we use this to wrap up our conversation here today?
Yeah, first I would get a weirder set. Like go on
okay.
a beach in Mexico and record.
Well, I'll say this:
Shirtless?
God,
Shirtless?
God down, like whatever is a bunch
Speedo?
of hair. Is it Speedo?
Speedo.
Fine.
Fuck it.
Yeah, I'll have to shove a soccer or something and make it look good. But I got the biggest feedback ever
Yeah.
when we recorded in
I know.
the hill country,
People loved it.
because the place was so zen,
Yeah.
and we felt zen.
Mm.
We were so much comfortable. Like our nervous system was like
Yeah.
completely relaxed. I could see it in our.
Yeah,
It's not like when we're
the
like
the medical center's the opposite of this shit.
exactly. Here is the anti.
It's an anti-zen.
And I apologize for that, but this is how it worked out work-wise. But like the hotel closed room that we did in Amp,
Mhm.
that was too much. So
Yeah.
I actually welcome your idea, and I think we have to be very purposeful. That
I would get
we record in places that are just beautiful.
Yeah, I've also evaluated tens of thousands of pieces of content, and a common theme of outliers is views. Like if you have a view behind you, whether that be a photo, I'm posting an Instagram story, whether that be a podcast, views always work really well. And also having more guests in person. So you guys like fly to Aspen, and you get all the doctors in Colorado to come drive up, and you have a cozy fireplace and a beautiful snow that's falling in the background. Or you do one again in Mexico, and you're at the beach. You do another one in California, and you've got the beautiful cliffs behind you. That would be my first suggestion. And then also on social media, it's just gonna stand out so much more. And second thing, bringing people together in person, like bringing groups together, starting to, well, you guys are, I don't know if you've announced yet, because I'm not going to say anything.
We put a teaser out.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, there's a special
Like LOF Summit.
experience where,
LOF Hendelot,
yeah, that's going to be great. And
Mexico
also-
City 2026.
And also when you
Don't
go to
know.
these places, when you're in Aspen for a recording weekend, can you bring in industry? Can you bring in people and have a fun dinner or a night out or intentional experiences? And also I think physician retreats, and physicians can chill the fuck out. They can be pampered. And also there's content going on. There's mini interviews. There's men on the street. You guys are getting couples massages and you're talking to each other in a microphone. Just get weird and bring people more in person and have better views. That's my consulting.
Okay.
All right. So expect me and Lucas in a couples massage with microphones being like, how's yours? Is it as good as mine?
Were you tight?
They're getting a little too close to my butthole.
Oop. I have a great massage story from Colombia, but we'll leave it for that.
For the Patreon?
I'll leave it for the day that we do our massage.
Yeah, it would be really cool to do more like Life of Flow explicit version, but that might be in person. Like it's in person only, or it's only.
You're not gonna get this one online. You have to come to Mexico City and listen to my story about the Colombian massage.
Yeah.
And it was something, it is worth listening to. So if you ever see me in person, be like, hey, you mentioned this on the pod. Can you share it?
Yeah.
It's a good story.
By the way, I think the level up from 2024 to 2025 is honesty and authenticity.
Yeah.
And you guys have just gotten to this new level of I don't give a fuck. Like Lucas still has a full-time job at a major hospital system.
Not for long.
Not for long.
And he doesn't give a fuck. Like some of the things you guys say a year ago, you would be like, cut that out. Don't say that. No,
Yeah.
we're not going in that direction. Now you're just like, fuck it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Mic drop.
Fight CJ, listen, it's always such a pleasure. You've got contagious energy. I know this is going to be one that will be for the books. Lots of people will see it. Lots of people will learn, hopefully. And for all you out there, if you have any questions, reach out to us in any way, shape, or form. You could also, CJ's got tons of great content and courses. You should probably follow her, maybe join her.
Plugging over.
Oh, yeah. Sunrise Content Club is an amazing resource where we meet on Zoom. Every day I tell you exactly what to post. As a physician, you don't have to come. Send your virtual assistant and I'll teach them how to post for you. And if you don't have a virtual assistant, what the fuck are you doing? And
Because it's like $10 an hour.
Yeah, you can get less than that. And Level Up on LinkedIn is my signature 4-week course where I teach you how to build a brand on LinkedIn. Again, you can send your social media manager or your assistant to learn and do it for you. And also come watch me speak. I'll be doing some interactive events, some talks. We'll be working together at the Hendelot X Life of Flow conference in Mexico City. So if you want me to audit your personal brand, if you want to chat about personal brand, then I'll see you in Mexico City.
Yeah, there's going to be opportunities for some one-on-ones with CJ there. So
yeah,
just stay close to the pod. We're going to be putting a lot of information out as we build the Life of Flow Summit community build in Hendelot, Mexico City. It's I want to say in late August,
late August, September. Yeah. After
right.
that, we'll have the Life of Flow camp at Burning Man, straight from Mexico City. So you can join that too.
So you could join Lucas and Billy Khan out there.
Exactly.
All right. God bless you, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Thanks, TJ.
Vamos.